Hi everyone. I hope everyone is doing well in their lives during these challenging times, and my best wishes for you and your family members. In this video, I'm going to explain you increasing and decreasing functions. Let y is equal to fx be any function defined on any domain x, and it's said to be increasing on an interval ab in domain x if increase in x corresponds to increase in y, or decrease in x corresponds to decrease in y. And it is said to be decreasing if increase in x corresponds to decrease in y, or decrease in y corresponds to increase in x on an interval in the domain. Let's consider the following example, or the following function: y is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 5, and draw its graph and see the behavior of the curve. Now if you look at this graph, we have one point negative 1.5 where the tangent is horizontal and the gradient is 0, and on both sides of negative 1.5 the curve behaves differently. Let's see in the next. As x increases and y also increases on the right side of negative 1.5, and as x decreases, y also decreases on the right side of negative 1.5. So therefore curve is increasing for this x greater than or equal to negative 1.5. If you look at left side of negative 1.5, as x decreases, y increases, y decreases, x increases. So therefore we can see that curve is decreasing for x less than or equal to negative 1.5. Now if you look at the gradient of the curve from negative 1.5 to negative infinity, it is negative. However, on the other side it is positive. Let's see with the help of the, if the gradient is positive for all x on the given interval, then the curve is always increasing on that interval. If the gradient is negative for all the values on that interval, then the curve is always decreasing. So we should notice one point here. For calculating the endpoints of the boundaries for intervals, we should equate gradient to 0 and get the values of x, which will help us to identify the boundaries for increasing and decreasing curves. Let's take one example to verify the rules above. Consider fx is equal to 1 by 3x cubed plus x squared minus 4, whether it's an increasing or decreasing curve, or what are the intervals for this curve where it's increasing or decreasing. Find the gradient, which is x squared plus 2x, factorize x into x plus 2, equate to 0, and x is equal to 0 and x is equal to negative 2 are the two boundaries where we will see the behavior of the curve. Let's see the sign diagram. If we look at x is equal to negative t, on the left side of negative 2 the gradient is positive. How we check that? We choose the very closer value on the left side of negative 2, that is negative 2.1, and substitute in the gradient function, and we get the positive sign. However, on the right side the closer value of negative 2 is negative 1.9, and the gradient sign is negative. Similarly, on the both sides of 0 the gradient sign is negative and positive. So we can see that gradient is positive for negative infinity to negative 2 and 0 to infinity. So therefore we can say the curve is increasing for these intervals, and we can see in the graph also from negative infinity to negative 2 the gradient is positive and the sign of the gradient is positive. For 0 to plus infinity, sign of the gradient is positive, so the gradient is and the curve is increasing for these two intervals. However, in between negative 2 to 0, gradient is negative, so therefore curve is decreasing for this interval.